The 60 by 200-mile strip below the southern border of Kansas, promised as a hunting outlet, became known as the Cherokee Outlet, or the Cherokee Strip. At the end of the Civil War, in which the Cherokees had joined the Confederacy, they were forced to renegotiate their treaties. The new treaty, signed in 1866, gave the U.S. government power to take Cherokee lands, in which they did to settle other tribes, including the Osage, Ponca, Kaw, and Tonkawa. These tribes in the eastern part of the outlet effectively closed off the land to the Cherokee. Meanwhile, Texas ranchers, using trails through the area to move the cattle markets, often allowed their cattle to linger along the trail to fatten on the good grasses. The Cherokee, who often found themselves unable to use these lands, began making an effort to collect grazing fees for all the cattle finding their way into the outlet. These collections were necessarily haphazard, and cattlemen often moved their cattle for a short while up into Kansas to avoid paying fees. One rancher who had moved into the outlet instead of choosing to pay the fees and negotiate directly with the Cherokee, he was Major Andrew Drum, who had extensive experience in the cattle business and had become wealthy selling cattle to San Franciscans during the gold rush years. In 1874, Drum selected his ranch headquarters a location between the Salt Fork and Medicine Rivers, a location a few miles north of present-day Cherokee, Oklahoma. His ranch discovered 150 acres, and Drum paid leasing fees to the Cherokee of 40 cents a head of cows, 25 cents for 2-year-old cattle, and nothing for calves. These arrangements between the ranchers and the Cherokee came to the attention of the federal government, when conflicts between ranchers forced the attention of the Department of Interior. Drum and some other ranchers began using the recently invented barbed wire to fence off portions of the outlet. The Cherokee approved this development since it made it easier for them to collect the leasing fees they were owed and prevented non-paying cattlemen from using their ranch land. When a Kansas rancher complained to Interior that Drum had fenced off property for which the Kansas rancher had paid leasing fees, an investigation followed. Although Drum prevailed, it was clear that pressures were building which threatened the large ranches of the area. In 1883, Drum and several other prominent ranchers met in Caldwell, Kansas, to form an organization to protect their ranchers' interests, called the Cherokee Strip Livestock Association. Drum was elected a director of the group. He helped negotiate a lease agreement with the Cherokee for a 5-year lease for the outlet lands for the sum of $100,000 per year. Every 6 months, a lease payment of $50,000 in silver dollars were transported in wagons from Caldwell to Toluca. Meanwhile, the political pressures were building in Washington to open the outlet to the so-called boomers. The boomers believed the government should open up unoccupied Indian territories for settlement by farmers and homesteaders. At the end of the 5-year lease, the Department of the Interior notified the Cherokee tribe that no leasing arrangement of the outlet by the Cherokee was valid. The government negotiated a purchase of the 5 million acres from the Cherokee, who had been left with no other options, for $1.40 an acre. Eventually, the federal government ordered all permanent structures removed from the outlet, and in 1893, the Cherokee land strip run took place.